the coolest thing. 70-year-old women are learning in our ministry and pouring into our kids. They're building those relationships. The kids are teaching her. It's like the coolest circle. Like,
their small group discussions are like genuine. She's like, "Can you guys believe that this happened?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "I know, right?" Like,
yes. But we have 3 wins on a weekend, and it's create an enjoyable environment, build relationships, and teach Jesus on their level. And like, if I can take those even throughout the week and do one of those when I'm talking to a team member or a kiddo or a family, like, that is winning.
That's awesome. How have you trained your volunteers and your leaders to see those goals as well?
I have to remind my team that, like, you probably aren't going to see this just because of church life and things. People come and go, but you've planted seeds. Like, our baptism Sunday, so many 6th and 7th graders graduate out of our ministry and then like make their faith their own the second they get into youth. And the stories shared out of that are...
Well, hello. Welcome to the Amazing Kidsmin podcast, and I'm very excited because today we have a very special guest. She's a kids pastor out in I'll let her say which state because, depending on which side of the city you're on, it could change the state you're in. But she's a great kids pastor. She's been doing this a long time. She's grown up and is a product of kids ministry. And we've got some fun topics to talk through today. So please give an Amazing Kidsmin podcast welcome to Emily. Hey, Emily.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. And so Emily, tell everybody, I know, what state do you reside in? Because Kansas City for me is very confusing.
Yes, I'm on the Missouri side. And we let everybody know that when there's concerts and games, and we just let everybody know that. It's Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes. And for people who are not from North America, or maybe you're in North America and you didn't know this, Kansas City can technically be like in 2 different states, depending on which side of the city you live on. So Missouri or Kansas. But you're in Missouri and you're a part of a awesome church and you're doing awesome things. But Emily, I love to ask people how they got into Kidsmin and why they got into kids ministry. So how you've been a kids pastor, why did you become a kids pastor? What led you to the crazy decision of getting into Kidsmin?
Yeah, so grew up in church. My dad is on staff at my home church. Mom's super heavily involved in kids ministry, VBS, writing, crazy decorator, all the fun things. So when I graduated out of kids ministry, I was automatically voluntold. You're going to start helping with VBS, kids camp, all that fun stuff. No, I got into it through, like kids camp crafts, would go and help. And then I got thrown into running slides one day at kids camp. They were like, "Hey, our person can't do it today, so you're on." I was, what am I doing? Crazy. Like, I've never run a computer for church. I have no idea what this is. And so started with that, and then just kind of fell in love with the whole kids ministry thing. Helped start a kids worship team, became kind of their manager, helped find their songs, their clothes, all their fun things. And then senior year in high school, I was trying to decide am I going to go to college? What am I thinking there? I sew. I make American Girl doll clothes for fun. And so I've been doing that since I was 11.
We'll circle back on that later. That's I like that you threw in the for fun.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I had been doing that as a side business from 12 years old on. And so I got to my senior year and I was like, am I going to go to do fashion design school or something like that? Thought about kids clothing design. And then I was like, no, but I really like kids ministry. So I kind of had 2 paths of kids and took a year break, didn't go to college right off the bat, and then ended up interning in our church. So that's kind of how I ended up in kids ministry.
Church conference is happening April 28th through 30th in Dallas, Texas at Preston Trail Community Church. If you've ever been to Orange Conference, you know that the collaboration and the energy in the room is electric. We renamed Orange Conference to Church Conference because we wanted to expand the scope beyond just kids and student ministry. So this year, we're doing some incredible sessions and workshops for kids ministry leaders, student ministry leaders, and executive leaders. This is a whole ministry strategy designed to equip your church with the best tools, skills, resources, and relationships. We're also going to be dropping 2 major announcements that will literally change kids and student ministry forever. And that's not a joke or an embellishment. The next era of ministry starts here, and you definitely want to be in the room when that happens. There are a bunch of ticket options available. Individuals, group tickets, digital, and also an option to host remotely as a host site. Applications are open to serve on volunteer teams, and that comes with its own set of perks. You can get tickets now or apply to serve at achurchconference.com. Now, back to the podcast.
And like at what moment, like, because all of us, and I'm not saying it's just this like, and the heavens parted and the light came down and God appeared to me.
Yeah.
But there is a moment where we have this like, this feels like more than just a fun hobby, or like, it's like, oh, I like, and sometimes it's like a year or two into doing it where you're like, oh, hey, I may not have like chosen this, but now I don't know if I could do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen for you?
That was probably right around my senior year. Yeah. I had been heavily serving, leading our kids production team. Like, I enjoyed it. I didn't know I liked leading people. I didn't know I was as organized as I am. But yeah, it was like, okay, I got to make a decision. I don't really know what that decision is yet. So I'm going to take a break, hear from God, just kind of see what life brings and what God puts in my way. And probably after my internship, I was like, okay, I want to do this full time.
Wow. Yeah. And so you start, and I for me, because like I started early too. Same thing. 12 years old, yes. You're all of a sudden the kids ministry intern.
Yep.
And, like a PK. Like, my parents weren't on staff at the church, but I might as well have been, because I was there almost every day of the week, serving. And my first job was actually running lights for a young adult ministry. So at 14 years old, they paid me like $50 a week, and I would like program, like, it was back when moving lights were becoming so. I'm really impressed with 14-year-old me for learning an entire system. But it was. But you get into it, and then so like I grew up around kids ministry too, and then you start doing it for yourself, and everyone has their own styles, but it's influenced by multiple people. Like, you're always trying to you stay curious and stay like, hey, that's inspired by others. So like, how did you find the way? Because your mom and parents probably did ministry a certain way. And like, you grew up in a specific kids ministry, which obviously influences the way you do it. But how long and how did you find your specific style and how you wanted to build a kids ministry?
So I was that crazy teenager that would go to church conferences over spring break, summer, all those fun times. We would load into the car.
Same. Yeah.
We would load into the car and drive 4 hours south to go to a different church's service to learn from them. I mean, it was like, what are we doing? My friends thought we were crazy. And we would take anybody we could, like, hey, let's go check this church out to make our church better. And so I just like, it was so much fun. But yeah, I just learned.
I love this.
But I just learned to like, I really wanted to aspire to be like these other churches, but I didn't want to just copy paste. Like, what's reasonable for us? What makes sense in that season? What can I even offer as a volunteer at the time? So it was a lot of fun just looking back at, like, we did some pretty awesome things with just volunteer life. And then like learning how to manage, like, don't compare each other. That was something I learned as like a teenager, like not comparing other churches, but like, how can you learn from them? But yeah, it's kind of fun.
That's huge. That's like, I had to do the same thing. It was probably in my early 20s where I realized, as awesome as it is to admire and get inspired and stay curious with ministries that are beautiful and doing awesome things, like, it started robbing me of peace and joy because I wasn't able to pay attention to and stay focused on, hey, but like, this is what God's calling me to do, and how he's like, and it doesn't diminish anyone else's like impact, but I had to be intentional around this
Yeah.
is what God's asking me to do. And so that's really great. Now, what I love about you is you as a kids pastor, you're always open to and adapting to like, hey, this is what is happening. So many people may not know this, but you were one of like the first 5 people to ever use APlay. Like
Yeah.
even in its like its first form.
Yes.
And like when we started telling churches, like, you know, we launched Amazing Kids, and we started telling churches like, yeah, like, so the way you access it and the way you do it is through this app, and you do this. Like, so many would be like, well, that's wild. That's how do it, and like the conversation with you was like, great, cool, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Like and like you jumped on, and like it's changed drastically.
Yes.
From what we started with 2 years ago to now. And you've gotten to see but have you always been that way? Because it's just like you weren't afraid to try something new. Like you were like, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, I would say yes. If it's gonna help the system, help our team, or help point kids to Jesus, I am all for it. Like that is, yeah, I'm constantly looking for new things, but not to change for the sake of change, but like to continue to point kids to Jesus. Like what's
Yeah.
gonna make my team win? Because we got more important things to do than struggle with a computer or print off 500 sheets of paper or but yes, yeah, like what is going to make my team win in a weekend that more kids can hear about Jesus because of that.
Yeah, and you guys started using like the parent app part of it and the APlay part of it. Like I call it like pre-beta testing. Like you guys were just like, yeah, we're like, and like we have our parents use the parent app and it's been so fun to watch the iterations of this change. But I think what's really interesting is like, I mean, you could probably speak to it even more than I can from a user's like, it's changed so much, especially and like fast. Like 2 years is like obviously 2 years, but now it's like it's different than even it was when you first came on. Like do you use the service builder piece of it yet?
I do. Yeah, we use service builder, and even that has just saved me like so much time, and I can send things out to my team faster and one click and things are done. That has been so nice. I'm like, so I only work 25 hours a week. So I am part-time overseeing 2 portable kids ministries. So multi-site, part-time, throw in all the crazy. So my time is valuable. I don't have time to be rewriting or downloading or adding, like I just can't do that right now. So yeah, it's just been great. I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, I have extra time and I don't know why. And I'm like, wait a second.
Well, and that's the hope, right? Like, because I mean, you know, when we planted a church down in Austin, like it was portable. So like, you know, we had like there are problems that sometimes people don't understand. Like it's just very specific to like loading and loading out church, like portables, where it's like, hey, like our trailer has a flat, or hey, like the hitch came off, or hey, the door broke and we were putting it up, or like people didn't pack it right and things broke, and like, and so you're dealing with that stuff and trying to have volunteers and trying to have ministry moments. And so when like, I mean, it would be a luxury to be able to spend 40 to 50 hours a week just on programming, but that's just like, that's not a reality for pastors. And so like, and like I found myself like where I got frustrated was I wanted to be a kids pastor and spend time ministering to kids and families. And I spent like 90%, 95% of my time like having to fix problems and program. And so like it was made like, that's why APlay and Service Builder and all these things were made, just because it was like, it really came from the season of me having to like wear 9 to 10 different hats. And it's like, hey, could I get rid of 2 of these? Like, could 2 of these hats like become like very minimal? And so I'm glad to hear that, like, yeah, it saves me time. And so that you can do the thing. I can't show up. I'd love to, but I can't show up at your campus and like pastor your kids. Only you can do that. And so that's the heart behind it. Is like, hey, we want to put time back in your schedule so you can do the things that matter most.
Yeah. So it's been a huge blessing. I mean, even my team has been like, I don't have to prep during the week. I can do like very minimal touch base prep, and it's been so nice.
You're rebuilding and utilizing different systems and all that. What does winning look like for you guys now? Like, what is the like for you personally? Like, what is because sometimes a win can be, hey, like we had a really great service, or
Mm-hmm.
hey, I got everything on my list checked, and that is a win. Like for anyone that's listening, that is a win. Like check off all your boxes. But like, how do you define a win? Like for you personally in your ministry?
So at our church, and then we took these. So our church is a church plant out of my home church, so they adopted
Mm-hmm.
these. But we have 3 wins on a weekend, and it's create an enjoyable environment, build relationships, and teach Jesus on their level. And like, if I
Hmm.
can take those even throughout the week and do one of those when I'm talking to a team member or a kiddo or a family, like that is winning. And Sunday
Wow.
mornings, like those 3, we talk about them in huddle. Like they're very easy reaches. I mean, it's like if you can just create an enjoyable environment, like boom, done. Like you did it. Like somebody,
Yeah.
and then just teaching kids about Jesus on their level, like that is huge win. And just playing, like building relationships, playing with kiddos, like pre-service, post-service, like just big wins right there that are so simple.
Like that's awesome. And so like how have you trained your volunteers and your leaders to see those goals as well? Because like wins can look different for
Mm-hmm.
each person. So as everybody aligns, how do you like synergize them around like those wins?
Yeah, I think like whenever we switch curriculums, like create an enjoyable environment, if you're frazzled, you're not going to be creating a fun room. If you
Yeah.
are sitting in there, you didn't read the lesson before you got in there. The kids know it. They're telling you you're telling the stories wrong. It's all the way around bad. So, like
Been there.
when I was
I've been there. Yeah.
yes, when I was making the switch for curriculum, I was like, okay, I'm trying to set you guys up to win because kids are going to learn better in an enjoyable environment. And so they were like, okay, this makes sense. So that kind of helped persuade them when we were switching curriculum. And then like building relationships, that one, I'm like, hey, we give you games. Just sit on a rug and just your goal is to learn that kid's name and one thing they did this week. And that I sometimes we do high five challenges where I'm like,
Yeah.
the dream teamer that gets the most high fives gets a gift card next week. So let me know after the end of the day. And that's been fun. One guy got like 100 high fives in a day.
That's amazing.
Yes, I was like, that is exactly. I was like, 100 touch points. That is perfect. Like that's great. And then
Yeah.
just teach this on their level. Like you don't have to be a Bible scholar to teach kids. Like just teach it at a basic level, and these kids are going to be like seeds are going to be planted, and these kids are going to be changed. And so those are kind of like the 3 easy wins that we shoot for. And
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's a big thing for a lot of volunteers that first get into kids ministry
yeah,
is like I mean and everyone is and it should be weighty. I'm prefacing a lot of what I'm about to say. It should be weighty, but also I think sometimes we can put so much pressure on ourselves to be like, well, I don't know how to I don't have a degree in
yeah,
education and all those are beautiful and awesome. Like it's not mitigating or diminishing those awesome accomplishments, but there is just a sweet calling that God gives to people. Like, hey, we got to pass down our faith,
yeah,
and we just have to be present in a kid's life. And how do we just let them know that they're seen and loved and valued?
yeah.
How do we make them feel like they have a place that they belong?
Mm-hmm.
And like, can you do that? Great. Then like, you're gonna help us teach the Bible this
Yes,
weekend. It's gonna be all
yeah,
and and some like to watch volunteers realize I can do that. It's
yes,
like great. Like, let's do it.
yeah. Like one of my favorite stories, like that's recently happened, is we have a 70-year-old lady that she got invited to our church from by her daughter, and she was not a Christian, not saved, nothing. I mean, like very little church background. Got saved at our church, went through our next steps course, found out like, oh, I really like children, but I don't really know anything about how to minister to them.
Yeah.
Joined our team, and then ended up, she's like, I was like, just go like if all you do is play with our kids, like that is a huge win. And so she was a little intimidated, and then went in, and she has learned right alongside of them that it is like literally childlike faith that has like
Wow.
the kids are teaching her things and she's learning right alongside of them, and it is the coolest thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
70-year-old women are learning in our ministry, and pouring into our kids. They're building those relationships. The kids are teaching her. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's like the coolest circle. Like, this is,
Their small group discussions are like genuine. She's like, "Can you guys believe that
yeah,
this happened?" And they're
yeah,
like, "I know, right?"
yes.
Like,
And so it's been one
yeah,
of the coolest things. And like, yes, or even if like the basic goal is like build relationships, like life change is happening no matter if they're 7 or if they're 70. Like, it's been really cool to watch.
that's so cool. Okay, so last question. If you could say one thing to kids pastors, like we have a lot that listen, and they're doing a lot. Like, what's one piece of advice or one encouragement that you would give them of just like, hey, like from my experience, this is what I would say.
I was thinking about that, and the thing that has like stuck out to me the most is you're probably not going to see the fruit of the seeds you've planted, and that patience is like so hard. And like I have to remind my team that like you probably aren't going to see this just because of church life and things. People come
Yeah.
and go, but you've planted seeds. Like our baptism Sundays, thankfully we do get to see quite a bit of like the fruit of the seeds that our kids ministry has planted. Like our baptism Sundays, so many 6th and 7th graders graduate out of our ministry and then like make their faith their own the second they get into youth. And the stories shared out of that are because of so and so in Discover Kids, like I'm here. And because of this kids event, like we all just sit there and bawl. And it is like we all come out of there and we're like, oh my goodness, like we do get to see the fruit sometimes, and it's so worth all the heartache. Like it is so worth it. But yeah,
Wow.
so and like this last baptism, I mean, everybody came out was just bawling. And I was like, the seeds are being planted whether we get to see it or not. So just keep doing what you're doing.
That is, I needed to hear that too. So thank you for that. And it's awesome to hear about all the things that God's doing. Like when we get to hear from different people
Hmm.
all around either the country or even the globe. And it sounds like God's doing something really special there.
Yeah.
So thanks for spending some time with us today.
Yes. Yeah, it's been
All
fun.
right. You'll be back. I know it. So, but thanks for joining us in, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Emily, and we'll catch you next week. See you later.